Hello everybody on the internet. Now this is a spoiler-free review, so if you haven't seen the movie, don't worry, there are going to be no spoilers. You can watch this review. So, Mortal Kombat has gotten a cinematic reboot. And firstly I should say that I'm not a big Mortal Kombat fan. I do like it, I like the characters, and I've played some of the more recent games, but I mainly just like to watch Mortal Kombat, but I haven't seen the old movies and I never will. And I'm not an expert on Mortal Kombat, I know a fair bit, so there were characters and Easter eggs in this that I didn't recognize, but I think that this movie is the second best game movie. I think that the best is the 2018 Tomb Raider. I'm proud of this movie because it's essentially Aussie made. It's directed by an Aussie and it filmed here. And for a movie of only $50 million budget, the costumes are perfect and the production design and the visuals are great. Of course, there are a lot of characters in this movie. A lot of them aren't as fleshed out as others and a lot of them are expendable. But in a Mortal Kombat movie, you need that. But even so, I didn't like how some characters were used, and some characters make stupid decisions. But everyone does something memorable. And the casting is perfect all around. It's really a step up for diversity. Cole Young is the original character in this movie, and I wasn't so sure about that, but as a window for the audience into this world, he worked. And even though he's the most developed character, I liked him less than all the classic characters. Scorpion is done perfectly. They really set up the birth of Scorpion epically, and they really make you feel for him. But he didn't have as much screen time as I thought he would, but Hiroyuki Sanada gives the best performance in this movie. Sub-Zero is my favourite Mortal Kombat character, but not the Bi-Han version, the Kuei Liang version. But Bi-Han is still cool, and they really establish him as a deadly enemy here. He has a very intimidating presence, and his ice powers are so satisfying. My favourite character in this movie was Liu Kang. Ludi Lin is the most perfect casting choice of all. He was very humble, wise, and nice, and they just nailed everything about Liu Kang. Raiden was handled well, he really felt like a higher power, and Tadanobu Asano had great line delivery. Another one of my favourite characters in this movie is Sonya Blade. She really proves herself in this, and she has a good friendship with Jax. Yeah, Jessica McNamee is the spitting image of Sonya. Jax was also a cool guy. There's a good focus on how he loses his arms and how it affects him. Kano is a big standout. He's the only Aussie character and he is so funny from start to finish. Shang Tsung was also handled well. Even though he didn't do much, Chin Han made him very villainous. The story is kept familiar for Mortal Kombat fans, but they do different things from the games, which is what they should do. But there are predictable moments, and the trailer honestly showed too much. One thing I don't like was the Arcana aspect of this movie. It felt really convenient and too different from the games. I really like the world building that this movie does, and the writing, it didn't feel exposition-y at all. But the writing did have really obvious dialogue, but there are game references that are so awesomely used. The movie also feels really choppy, and some nice character moments don't last long enough, so it should have been longer. And in ways, you can tell that this is by a first-time director. But I have to talk about the combat. The action, the combat, it is awesome and so well done. Most of the time the action is clear, but then sometimes it's jarring. And the fatalities, they are awesome, and they're never mindless, they always happen for a reason. So this is not a perfect movie, but it is a perfect Mortal Kombat movie. But obviously the games are better. I'm going to have to give it an 8 out of 10. Simon McCoy did a good job with this movie. I hope that it gets a sequel so it can flesh out these characters more and so we can get more characters. And I just want to quickly mention, if you want to see my further thoughts on things, then follow me on the Stardust app. The Stardust app is a good extension of my channel. On there I cover things that I don't cover on YouTube, so I'd really appreciate it if you could follow me on there. So, have you seen Mortal Kombat? What did you think of it? Who's your favourite character? Let me know in the comments below, and may the Force be with you.